Hello and welcome to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our gaming group and the board games we play. I am your current first player, Adrian, and in this episode we'll be talking about theme and how well it sticks to a game or if it feels pasted on. With me today, he's a pro with the Pritt Stick, it's Davey.
Hello.
A devil with the hot glue gun, it's Becky.
Hi.
And he's been eating the paste again, it's Rob.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's too Moorish.
I can't be mad.
So before we get into the main bit of the episode, how are we all doing?
All good, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
You're cool?
Yeah. I'm just kind of chill. I feel
Nice.
quite zen at the minute.
Happy days. The rest of us?
Feel great.
Tired.
Tired and great.
I'm going to try and keep the levels up there for this episode, but I'm probably going to go back a shell of a human being.
That's fine. Rob said earlier he was tired as well.
I'm
and now
tired, but I'm good. I'm happy. So it's good. And
Good.
if, Davey, you do fall asleep, I promise I will not shave off your eyebrow.
It's fine. They'll just replace me with AI. That's what we do now.
It's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That previous Christmas episode wasn't actually Paul Grogan. It was all AI. We haven't told you that.
Could you imagine? We're just like, oh, and we've got Tom Vassell next week. So it's that time where we talk about you and me and all the good things and the bad things that have been as we talk about Hex.
Oh, I've missed that. I've missed that.
I'm so happy.
You weirdos. So what have we all been up to? What have we played recently? What have we been doing? Becky.
Well, I haven't really played anything new, so I'm not going to talk about new games today, but I have been meticulously organising our forthcoming Disney World holiday.
Very nice.
Which you don't have to meticulously organise, but I mean, why would you not when there's the option? And I've got different colour pens, and I've got, there's reservations left, right and centre, and it's good. It's going to be good.
You know, you can get that game where you plan your trip to Tokyo.
What's that?
Visit Japan?
Okay, I
Let's
think
go
I'd
Japan.
quite like that.
Let's go
kind of game.
Japan.
Yeah.
They should definitely do a Let's Go Disney.
I'd be all over that. Yeah, so we have a holiday upcoming, me and my lovely husband Curly and his mum. So
Nice.
we're all going to go, and that's going to be great.
Nice.
'Cause
When about you going?
Middle of January.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So as this comes out, I'm going to be counting down the days.
Yeah, nice.
So it was 2 years ago you last went about that, wasn't it?
September 23.
Okay.
Feels like it was only last year for some reason.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why I'm keeping tracks of your holidays.
Well,
but,
we
you know.
went 2 weeks before you.
You
didn't
did.
We?
Yeah,
we
you
had
did.
a blast. You'll love it. It's
I
great.
know. It's great. So we've got lots of different restaurants booked. Because if you don't book them early, I mean, this is boring Disney chat now, but if you don't book them early, you don't get to go to the really good places. So
Okay.
Most people I've sort of met who go regularly do seem to have like a planner put together.
Got to have a planner.
With all of the rides they're going on and what tickets they've booked for different things
you
and all
can't
that kind of
book
stuff.
the ride so much. I mean, there are ways. Like I'm not going to bore everyone about this, but you can't book them in the way that you used to be able to back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fast passes are no longer a thing,
They
guys.
split it again now, haven't they? I mean, you've got like 4 tiers of pass now, haven't you?
No, there's just 2 tiers of pass.
There's
But
only 2 tiers.
people aren't here for the Disney World chat. But I'm, up to my eyeballs in planning in a lovely way.
So if we try and pull it back to board games, is there any you want to take with you?
We'll always take Splendor.
Nice.
Because it fits into box, and I need to play it to decide I don't like it again, and I absolutely will play this game. I don't know why I've got such a bee in my bonnet about it, but it makes me so cross for no reason. We managed to take about 10 different board games last time in quite a small package, so just being careful about kind of stuff that might look like bombs or guns, or I won't take Cluster again because that was all sorts of nonsense.
Or Cash for Guns.
Yeah, not Cash for Guns. Yeah, so we'll see. Probably a bit of just one, although there will be 3 of us. But Americans are very friendly. I reckon we could get other people around the table if we wanted to.
Nice.
We took Hogwarts Battle last time, and that was a
That's
hit.
a fairly big box.
Yeah, but got plenty of
For travel.
got plenty of sort of suitcase room. Be all right.
But surely that's less lightsabers to bring back.
Yeah, well,
You can carry them on the plane.
Just onto it.
From Orlando International Airport, you are allowed to get on a plane with lightsaber. There was a kid who got on the plane. He had a lightsaber in the Thanos gauntlet.
Nice.
It was like I made a serious mistake by putting mine in the luggage.
You just wanted to
You
battle
wanted to
him.
battle him, yeah.
so yeah. What has everyone else been playing? Give me some ideas of what I could take.
I recently played with Marcus, one of our listeners, Lord of the Rings Duel.
Oh, I reckon that might actually come in the suitcase with us.
Yeah. So that's good fun. Like Seven Wonders Duel pretty much, but with a Lord of the Rings theme, and it's got some slightly different mechanics with kind of like 3 different ways to win. There's basically you either take over a board like this little it's a board off to the side, which
it's like a map of Middle Earth, isn't it?
Yeah, which is all of Middle Earth, and you have to have one in each area. And then if someone else puts one out, you cancel each other out. If they put 2 out and you had 1 on there, you'd end up with 1. So it's very simple. There's no like combat, but it's like a little simple area control bit. You've got I don't know, like the councils. I don't know what, or the factions.
Yeah, I think they call it the Fellowship Victory or something like that.
The Fellowship Victory, which is there's a green card. When you get 3 of a certain type, you can go and get a little perk thing that gives you a power. But if you collect each one of those sets, which I think is there 7 in total?
6.
6. If you collect 6 of those, it's another win con. And then the other one is if you basically get the ring, if you're playing the good guys, you get the ring to Mount Doom, then you win. Or if the Nazgul catch the hobbits, the evil dudes win. So yeah, it's quite cool. It's got a little push-pull mechanic, area control, and then set collection. And you basically take a card each, that's your action, and build a little tableau.
Yeah.
Such a good game.
Yeah, it's really... I was very impressed by it, actually. For something that's so simple, it's got so like a nice amount of depth while playing against each other. And every game we've had has been close. There's not been too much of like one person running away with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a reskin, isn't it, of Seven Wonders Duel?
Yeah,
and
much.
I hadn't played Seven Wonders Duel before I played Middle Earth Duel, and I think they've done a fabulous job of removing points and maths and all that lot out of it and still keeping it a close game.
They've streamlined it, haven't they?
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
not too difficult anyway, is it?
It's
Really?
it's
that I
not,
remember.
but it's surprising how for like a light game I found taking out that need to kind of do counting sort of stuff.
fair
It just
It's the way science works with its multipliers, and it has like a weird grid table with the
Yes.
Seven Wonders stuff.
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
find science
Science is a bit bonkers with it.
Yeah, and if they had like the grid like mapped out, you'd be able to work out a lot easier. But it's not there for that as like easy information, so you have to like work it out while you're doing everything else. Sometimes it's a bit too much.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job of everything is win or loss. It's not how many victory points or anything like that. And I think they've done a pretty good job of making that a thing.
Okay. I look forward to playing it. I know Kelly's already played it and we do own it, so I should play it already.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Have we seen, because I haven't, a ring victory?
No. But
Yeah, I
it's the
did.
easiest one to stop other people from winning, though, I think.
Well, this is it, is I feel like it's just there almost to force you to have to take it if someone's getting close or whatever.
Oh, you mean get the ring to Doom victory?
Yeah, or
I
the
was one step off.
Yeah, I've been one step off, but I've never seen anyone win by actually getting the ring to Mordor or the Nazgul catching the hobbits. And I just it feels a little bit like it's there just to balance you away from other strategies, kind of force your focus to come away from other strategies. But
It's like a tug of war thing, isn't it, basically? And if someone ignores it, then you will win.
Yeah.
But it's so easily seen,
yes,
and you can stop it, you kind of have to, but then that strategy means that it frees the other person up to do something else. So, I do think it is, as you're saying, there to just balance out the rest of it.
yeah. As I say, I'm intrigued because I hadn't seen it, and I've played 5 or 6 games of it now, and I just didn't know that it was kind of my little meta of people I was playing. But
Be interesting to see the percentage stats of like out of the 3
Wins.
cons, which one's the most prevalent and which one's... It's going to be the ring, but what percentage each one of those is. If anyone has that data, send it to us. We would like to know.
maybe it is out there somewhere. I always found that the one that snuck up on me was the Fellowship, the collecting what was science before, the green cards. That's the one that sneaks up on me. I always forget to watch out for it until it's too late. And then I'm like, oh, dang, snuck that one past. Whereas the map is quite obvious whether or not you're winning or losing that.
That was a very like 60s PG swear
Oh,
word. You just
dang.
said, oh, ding.
Trying to remove the explicit tag on our podcast.
I'm in work mode somewhat. So I'm trying to fudge.
Yeah, it was like,
My boss
The 60s
swears like
American.
a sailor, so it's fine.
what, JP?
Yeah. Nice. And what about yourself, Rob? What have you been up to?
Well, last night we had a friendly little game of D&D.
We did.
Didn't we? It was good fun.
We did.
Watching Stu, just get so stressed over you min-maxing every decision has to be the highlight of the evening.
I've also got a character that I think... Because he's a little bit out there, and I do try and throw in loads of weird puns and euphemisms.
You do?
And I think it stresses him out sometimes.
Yeah, 'cause as well, the way your mind works is you fire off 5 different random things at once. Now, you can calculate those 5 random things. Other people struggle. And your character's a bit out there as well. So you playing your character is like Davey amplified.
I was going to say, is it just like a rarefied version of your own brain already?
No,
it's so
more
funny.
recluse. So I'm playing a Shroom druid, circle of spores. And basically it's someone that's lived in the forest his whole life, and he's a wood elf who basically just doesn't know normal social interactions.
I love those kind of characters.
Yeah, and it's just very out there and smells, and no one likes being near him, no one likes talking to him, and he's just a little bit out there. So it's
typically,
quite fun to play.
any social situation, we send him in.
That's the right thing
She's
to
like,
do.
I've got to talk to Davey in character. And he's just just literally walks out. He's like, have you got any inklings? It's like, what?
I'm looking for inklings. Do you not know any inklings around here?
And that's how the conversation starts. I don't know what to do with this. And it's brilliant. Stu's a really good DM as well. He's fantastic, and we're having a lot of fun. I think we might be slightly overpowered at the moment.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those where I was like, "Oh, actually, these guys are."
Yeah. So, but it's been a lot of fun, to the point where now my daughter wants to play it.
Yeah.
And she's really looking forward to play. We're going to have a session between Christmas and New Year.
Nice.
So she's got a character set, and I can run a DM campaign where everything doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to walk her through some situations anyway, so it helps me learn how to DM.
You can fudge everything,
Exactly.
ultimately.
Exactly. As long as she's having a good time as well. She's not looking for a major challenge. She's just looking for a bit of fun. So, really looking forward to doing that. I'm getting some of the old manuals for Christmas.
Nice.
So we'll do that and run through it. So it should be fun.
Yeah, it's good. I quite like mucking around with when I play D&D. I quite like mucking around with what everyone expects. So I don't know if it's still a thing, but skeletons used to be basically immune to piercing or had damage resistance to piercing, and I just removed that and then put them as being vulnerable to bludgeoning weapons. But everyone's brain is wired to know what a skeleton does in D&D. So they've all built their characters being like, oh, we're not taking piercing stuff. And it's it doesn't matter because these skeletons are not affected. And you can just see their little brain explode if they're used to D&D stuff. And that's what, as a DM, I used to really enjoy doing, is just buggering about with things.
Freaking people out, yeah.
So I'm min-maxing a really anti-meta class. So
nice.
I've got Poisoner on there and Shillelagh on my weapon, and basically just trying to deal... it's only little increments of extra damage I'm dealing, but you get to roll 6 dice, and it's just fun. Yeah.
Part of that sentence was a different language to me. I can't even remember what the words were now, because it was just...
Ironically, Becky, I think you'd enjoy it.
I have played D&D before. I have. And it was fun. I did enjoy it.
It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
My wife comes in and just looks at us and says, what are you lot talking about?
Yeah.
But it's fun. So, Adrian, what have you been up to?
I have been playing Final Girl.
Nice.
So, as people know, I don't really do solo games. It's not my thing. But Final Girl's been kind of calling to me, and I kind of wanted to give it a go. So I picked it up at GridCon from Games Law, because they had a little stand there. And I suppose I'm going to front load this slightly with what I was looking for was a small game that I could pack up and I could put on a small hotel table or something like that. So I was looking for not a train table, but slightly bigger than that I could put a game on or whatever and just play a game when I'm staying at hotels or whatever. This is much bigger than that. So Final Girl, you have to buy a core box, which is basically the components and the rule book. And it has no bad guy, it has no map. It doesn't actually have any of the Final Girls in it. They all come in these episodes, or what, I can't think what they call it, but I think they call it feature films or something like that. So you have to then buy another box, and there's like 10, I think, at the moment available. And in the other box, you'll get 2 final girls, the map, and the bad guy, the serial killer sort of one. So I picked up there's a combo box where you get the core box and Happy Trails, I think it is, which is a campsite with a guy with a big axe and a pig mask on, like chasing people around a camp forest sort of thing. I was surprised by how little there actually is to the final girl is just a card that has spaces to put victims that you rescue on one side, and then when you do that, you flip it over and it's got another rule on the other side. And that is all there is to the final girl. So you collect all these different final girls with the different packs, but actually they're very simple. What you then have is a deck of 0 cost cards, basically. If you play them, you discard them, you then can't buy them back that turn. You can buy them back next turn for free. And you have an array of cards. And this is where the sort of space starts to get a bit out of control. Is you kind of need like 10 stacks of cards, so that a shop that you can buy cards from that allow you to, you're basically going to walk around the map, you're going to attack the killer, you're going to search for items, and you're going to try and reduce the horror in the area, which allows you to roll more dice. And you play a card, you roll the dice, and however many successes you get that level. So if you're walking, for instance, and you roll 2 successes, you get to move 2 spaces. And I think it doesn't cost you any time. If you roll 1, you get to move 1, but it costs you time. If you roll 0, you get to move 1, but it costs you 2 time, or something along those lines. So it's just, there's quite a bit of randomness in the dice roll, but I didn't actually find that too much of a problem. And the game is won by either you killing the serial killer or the serial killer killing you. And you're going to try and rescue some victims, and they're going to try and kill victims. If you rescue victims, it makes you more powerful. If they kill some victims, which are just sort of pawns, sit around the map and move away from him as best as possible if he kills someone. If he kills people, he gets stronger, so he moves further and hits harder and all that kind of stuff. So you're kind of trying to save as many victims and search for, like there was a speedboat key and I got a bear trap and stuff like that I could lay down. So when he walked into the space, he took damage. All of which was actually pretty good. It's fairly simple, but it felt thematic. I could absolutely see that if I bought a different feature film, like the two, I played both Final Girls, and one was a bit more hitty and the other one was a bit more survivable. And I'm sure that as they go on, you'll get different feels, because every time you put a victim that you save, you put it on space on your card, and when you've filled up your card, it's like a coffee stamp. Then you get to turn it over and get all the really good stuff. But as you put it on, it will say, oh, now you get 2 extra time, or you reduce horror by 1 as you fill up that sort of worker placement spot. And it was enjoyable. I'm not entirely sold on it yet, but I think...
Is it solo only?
Yeah, it's solo only. And I think one of the biggest things for me is the fact that I wanted it to be this smaller space. But the boxes are maybe A5. You flip out one side of the box and it's your map, and then the other side of the box, and they're magnetic, is the killer. So you can kind of swap them over and put them all into a box. So if you want one killer, like a completely different killer from a different pack, you can swap them over, and then you just move the deck. Like there's a little insert that has all of their deck and that of cards and that in. And you can kind of swap all of that over. So you've got that. Then you've got in the core boxes your little player thing that's got the horror track and like your rescued victims and items that you're holding and stuff like that around it. Then you've got this shop of cards. Then you've got 3 location decks, an event deck, a setup deck.
It's escalating here.
Yeah, and it's just like as I was putting it out, I was like, oh, this is going to be the size of like four bits of A5 kind of pushed together, which it kind of is. And then you've got all these cards like littered around it, and it just kind of...
What about if you had an ironing board in your hotel room?
Oh, possibly. Like, I'm not saying it's not overwhelming. It's smaller than a standard board game. If you were playing a solo standard board game, I'd say it's a smaller footprint than that. But that was not mine. That's not why I bought it. And again, I didn't do as much research as I probably would do. I've got a thing about, I don't like horror films. I don't like horror video games, but I like the idea of horror stuff. So a board game does not scare me, luckily. So a board game doesn't scare me in that sense. So I can sort of get my horror theme in via board games. So that, combined with the idea that it was a sort of smaller solo game, was what sold me. And it's good. I've enjoyed the mechanics. I can absolutely see if you're a solo gamer, you'd probably get a lot of value out of this. This was more of a backup thing. And again, I wanted that smaller table presence. And it's not quite that. So I'm still to make up my mind on sort of whether I'm buying more or selling it on or whatever. I think for
Do you
once...
like space horror? then? Do you like Alien and stuff or no?
Though the Alien films are fine, they're not really horror,
No.
I would say. But
They do verge on.
When was the last time you watched one?
what?
Alien, Alien,
Oh yeah,
the first one.
It does verge on horror.
kinda. The first one's fine.
Yeah.
The problem with the first one now is that everything looks so old that it's not scary anymore.
I don't know. I watched it in lockdown, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like this."
I tell you what,
Alien Romulus was actually really good.
I can't watch them anymore.
That was good.
I tell you what, I did shit my pants over was Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
I
Good
got
game.
literally there were like the little jump scares you're expecting, like, oh, this is going to come out of it, and it turns out to be the cat or whatever, and I was like, this is going to be the cat. Oh, it's the cat. Cool. Just stay here for a second.
Have you seen
Just gain my breath.
Safe.
Have you seen the video of the kid who died because his mum shouted and the dinner was ready, and it picks up sounds through the mic?
Oh no.
Yeah, so if you've got a headset on with a microphone.
Oh yes, sorry. When you
didn't
said the
die.
kid died, I was
kid
like,
didn't die.
No,
what kind of video is this on YouTube?
Disclaimer: no children were harmed.
The character died.
A child was playing, not a child, a teenager was playing Alien Isolation. His mum shouted that his tea was ready. The alien heard it through the microphone and came and ate him.
On to our main event. This time we will be talking about theme and how useful it is in sticking to mechanics and mechanisms and how it makes a board game or breaks a board game. Previously, we've talked about which themes do we like and why do we like them. This is much more about how does a theme feel like a theme that fits the board game. So I suppose the first question is theme important to us? And if so, why?
It varies. Theme, if it's a good game and the theme doesn't really fit, I could let it slide. It doesn't matter. Whereas I think a good theme can't carry a bad game.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too.
But you can have a really cool theme that you really like. So the Botanist, I think, is a good one where they say everyone's like, it looks really cool. It's all the Victorian style.
Botanical flower.
Yeah, botanical flowers and font. But apparently the game's a little bit bland. I'm sorry if you like it.
I think it's
I
quite an easy game. Stu was talking about it actually because he's got it, and I kind of was interested after he was talking about it.
Yeah,
So was that because the theme kind of was like, oh, I'd like to see
I
that.
like the theme,
and I think it is.
And I keep seeing online people who have picked it up recently, and it started since after now it's been out a little bit. I think its weighting or its score has kind of dropped with everyone because they've just started to feel like actually there's not much depth here, but the theme is really cool. So for me, that is it. It does kind of matter, but it doesn't matter so much as to I won't play a game. I've realised.
As the beige cube pusher of the group that doesn't kind of, I don't care what the theme is 90% of the time. I can be sold on a theme. So if something like Final Girl, we're just talking about, the theme that sold me a bit more on the game to try it, but that theme won't carry the game, as you were saying. Like it needs to be good mechanically behind the theme as well. But if a theme and mechanics are good versus similar mechanics with not a great theme, I will always go for the theme, the one with the better theme sort of thing. What about the rest of you?
A theme is a selling point.
Can be.
Do you know what I mean? For me, I've backed 3 things on Kickstarter. One of them was The Witcher, which I was like, yep. And the other one is Elder Scrolls. Like, to be honest, I doubt I would have very much looked at those sort of games until it was already at market. The fact that I'd seen an advert for a Witcher, the board game, instantly I'm just, shut up and take my money. and the same with Elder Scrolls. See Elder Scrolls, the board game, absolutely. I'm in 100%. So I think for me, it's an easy way of generating hype.
Yep.
And like I said, sometimes that hype is warranted, and sometimes it's not. The hype, like you said, a hype will get you interested in a game and willing to play it.
It is a good point. I think Slay the Spire sat in my Kickstarter basket for ages, and then I was like, oh no, I can't justify it.
Every time I see it, I'm like, I want that game so
yeah,
badly.
but this is before it had even been released, and I was just like, oh no, I stopped myself because I was like, I can't buy it just because it's a theme, because it looks like it just be exactly like the computer game. Spoiler, I've now got the game because I enjoyed it that much when I actually played it. But yeah, it is something to pick
think
your interest.
that is an
isn't it?
interesting one because so Curly's played Slay the Spire on the computer forever, like so many hours. I don't even want to think about it. And he didn't buy that game for quite a little while. I'm wondering, and I've not asked him this because it hadn't occurred to me till now. Maybe he was scared of not liking it. So when he bought Heroes of Might and Magic, he was so excited about that. We saw it in, I think, one of the first UKGs we went to.
That was the Covent Garden one, wasn't it?
Ali Pali, yeah, maybe it was.
Ali
the
Pali.
Alexander
Yeah,
Palace. Yeah, maybe it
that
was.
one.
So he saw it and he was just like, because he has played hours and hours and hours of Heroes of Might and Magic. And he's since sold that game. He liked it. The game was fine, but it clearly didn't
Hit the spot,
evoke what he was hoping it would. I think the setup and the teardown was just too monumentally much of a pain in the arse for it to carry the game. So maybe that's what kind of made him not jump on Cloudspire. Oh, sorry, Curly. I know you didn't buy Cloudspire. Whoa. Slay the Spire because he, maybe he was worried it was going to be a bit of a letdown. I think
when I saw the game, I was like, I don't know about that. Because I've got it on my phone. Like, it's a great game.
This was my point. Yeah.
It's a great game. And then when I saw you could play it 2-player, I saw a couple playing at GridCon, and I said, like, please tell me this is bad. Because I don't want to, I don't want to have to buy it because it's good. And he was like, mate, I'm really sorry, but it's really good. I was like, damn it.
It's better than the computer game.
He said it's really good. I was like, no, I'm going to have to buy it at some point. So
Curly does love it. But yeah, I think it's interesting that, a theme can make a game worse because you're so invested in it and then it doesn't maybe do what you think. Yeah, so you kind of feel let down. I think where I stand with theme, the kind of person I am, I would assume is super important, but I don't know if it is. One of my favourite games, I love Terraforming Mars, but am I interested in Mars? No, couldn't give a shit. But that game's great because the game is good. I guess you could be talking about, I don't know, developing anything and it's fine. But if you say compare Agricola and Caverna wins hand down for me because of the theme.
Yeah.
I can, for some bizarre reason, I can sort of get my mind more into a dwarf in a cave than I can an actual legit
human.
Yeah, human, I don't know, was it Roman farmer? Whatever the time frame is, whatever. That doesn't, it's like, can't relate to that. But a little dwarf in a cave, I can totally get that. Sure. But that is pure theme, isn't it, really? Because the game is exactly the same.
I guess for me, it's franchises.
Yeah.
In the theming.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought of it that way before.
You were talking and I was thinking there are several companies, at least one of which is not here anymore, that have made a lot of money off of selling IPs with average mechanics behind it, but that's a whole different story, I think, for a different...
But I like Gears of War, where I saw Mark playing it at GridCon. I was like, what's it like? Instantly, I was like, yep. He says 25 quid. I was like, done. I literally bought it there and then. Anything Mark from Ninja Geek Games tends to recommend that I end up buying. So...
Little man crush.
We're similar taste in games, mate.
Yeah, little man crush.
No, it's not a man crush.
Down.
Just very similar
That was
taste
a
in
horrible
games.
Noise. Never ever make that noise again.
It's even worse when it's in your ear.
Yeah,
right inside your ear.
Whatever. That's sort of table move.
So yeah, for me, it's more franchises than kind of themes. But
yeah, Terraform Mars is a strange one though, because I think that's the first game that actually made me go, yeah, theme doesn't matter. Because I remember looking at it, I nearly cancelled because I always went, I keep looking at it, I think it just looks so shit. And then I turned up and I played it and I was like, this is actually really good.
Yep.
But then
so it is one of those.
Compare it to like Everdell. So that should tick every one of my boxes. And I do like it. Have I got Everdell out onto the table in the last 18 months? No, I don't. I can't remember the last time I played it.
When we get on to when theme doesn't work, remind me about Everdell. Because I've got a very sticking point about Everdell and its theme. But anyway.
The tree.
No. So
that should be really good. Like I should play that every week because it's cute furry animals. It's got a lovely, lovely tree in it that is lovely, and I don't care what anyone else says. And everything's tactile, but I don't.
Yeah, fair enough. So, what are the benefits when a theme sticks to the mechanics? So when the theme and the mechanics line up and it sticks together, what's the benefits of that? Why is that a good thing?
Immersion, I would say. Nemesis is one that does it. I think without its theme, it would be a much worse game, and I probably wouldn't have played it as many times as I did. I think I'm done with it, but I wouldn't have played it as much as I did without that theme, because you feel immersed and there's a story afterwards.
Yes. Yeah, I think story is a key thing, right? So story, if a theme sticks well, it tells a story as it, and I think telling a story also makes the theme stick. I think it's a bit of a two-way thing. If you've got a good story narrative, or when you play a character, it feels like the character you know, it makes the theme stick. Whether or not mechanically the game is good, if it feels inside the game like the character you think you should be, when a science does sciencey stuff and a soldier does soldiery stuff, then, well, kills things, okay. When they do
That
those...
just made me chuckle the way you said it. I thought that was great.
Running, jumping, climbing trees.
Yeah, exactly. When they do all those things correctly, and it fits that theme that you were expecting, it works, right? They build on each other. They kind of loop, endless, like infinite loop of building that together. One of the things I was thinking of was that I think if a theme and mechanics fit together well, teaching a game becomes much easier.
I was just about to say, I find it a lot easier learning a game or remembering what I should be doing next, or figuring out how this works. If the theme and the mechanics kind of merge together and it works like you think it should, that makes it far easier for me to get the point of it, or remember it, or know what I should do next, or something like that.
Yeah, because board games are abstracted to some extent, varying degrees. And the closer you can make it, so you're like, well, first of all, we're going to make the chocolate, then we're going to wrap the chocolate, then we're going to sell the chocolate. You can kind of go, okay, I know what I've got to do, right? Like how you do that and what you've got to do to get that. But at least you kind of get the flow of the game, or can sort of understand what parts fit where. Whereas, like, I'm going to rag on Weather Machine here a little bit. Like, that is one that doesn't naturally make sense from a theme. Like, it does, but it's really loosely held together. Yeah. And so it kind of struggles, I feel, in that. And that's why I think a lot of people bounced off it, was because it was harder to teach because there's no natural...
It was exactly that. The fact that you would have to make the weather worse to then learn about the weather, to then publish a book, it kind of just never seemed to fit together.
Sit quite right, does it?
Yeah. Whereas the actual game I love, but that bit of it is just, you just feel like, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But the rest of it works, and it's a great game in that sense. But yeah,
I think if a game's abstract, like take something like Azul, where you are just putting tiles in a line, like, does it matter they're Portuguese tiles? No. Does it matter that you can only pick the same colour out of the thing and then all the rest drop on the floor? No. That's not, I'm sure, the life of a Portuguese tiler, but what do I know?
OCD Portuguese tiler.
Maybe. I can only touch the blue ones today. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that game is so simple, it sort of doesn't matter what the theme is. So maybe theme is more relevant when something is a little bit more complex, because that could be about anything. For example, they've made the same game with chocolate, which is what made me think of it. Like, it doesn't have to be anything. No, and I think you can do that with a lot of games, even the ones where the theme sticks pretty well. I was thinking about Kanban the other day, like, which is car manufacturing. And the reason why I think that works as a game is it does that thing of, you need to research the parts, you need to build the cars, you need to kind of test them and all this kind of stuff. You could probably do that with a load of anything that's got a kind of manufacturing process. Could be Santa's toy shop, right? And 90% of it would make sense because it's just about a conveyor belt and all that kind of stuff. So you can always re-theme things, but certainly if they get it right, if they get the theme right, it just helps the game flow and, as you say, your memory of the game.
Does the Kanban theme excite you, does it, Adrian?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, why not?
So strangely, I was thinking Civolution. So Civolution theme is you basically play like a god, I guess, or some. No, it's maybe like your advanced civilization.
Yeah.
And you're trying to create another civilization, and you've got to basically put it through all these pitfalls, and then you've got to pass your course or your test. And when you first play, you just think, oh yeah, Euro, you've got some moving bits. But the more we've played it, and we've started saying what our cards are, and like, I've given my civilization horns, or I've started now, they're doing rituals, and then you get some quite funny stories that come out of how you're making points. So yeah, I was just like some cult who was just doing rituals the whole time, whereas Marcus was then basically leading his civilization out to the wild and then culling them out to get points, because that was one of the ones you had to weaken them and then just kill them off to get points. And that kind of built its own little theme. And that was actually quite fun when we were playing, because that kind of incorporated itself in the game. Normally I wouldn't get that from a Euro, so I did find that interesting.
Nice.
I think, like, as well, the variations of games that are out there now, it's almost like, do you know what? I really feel like reading a thriller. Do you know what I mean? It's like a different book, a different movie, you've got so many options. Like you said, I want a horror, but I don't want a horror.
Yeah.
So Final Girl fits well. I want a time traveling, like Civolution type game, but I don't want the complexity of it. So I'll play something like Imperium.
Yeah.
That's got a time progression, civilization growing element that isn't as complex as Civolution. I think it's kind of whatever flavor you're in, whatever flavor of crisps you want. The options now are there because, like I say, game design, game development has come so far that it's kind of what you're in the mood for. And then a good theme or a good, will kind of draw you towards that product.
I think some of it's out of necessity as well, because people don't.
Did you just say board games were necessities?
No, the fact that we've got so many themes now, because they probably don't want to go, we want to make another theme about this, and there's a million zombie games, or like a million of these. So
people have had to be more creative with finding a theme and
standing out in the crowd at this point, isn't it? That's what it is. It's about luring in a different audience to the same type of game quite often.
I'm just thinking of, say, Lords of Waterdeep. The theme of that doesn't matter at all. It's orange cubes, white cubes, black cubes, purple cubes. It doesn't matter at all. So maybe I don't really care about themes. Maybe I just care about, do I understand this mechanic? Do I know what I need to do?
Okay, how was Wingspan sold to you?
Early on, because it's got pretty birds on it. Absolutely. Would I have played it if it hadn't? I might have done. But, did I buy Wormspan because it's got dragons in it? Yeah, I did. But actually, it's so not about maybe that's just the way I look at the games. It's not about the dragons. And the pictures are cute, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. The actual content of the game is better than Wingspan, in my opinion. I'm sorry for people who disagree. Well, no, I'm not sorry for people who disagree. That's my opinion. Whatever. But don't at me, because, that's fine. But I think the theme is not important with that. It's that game's better. I'm not going to go and play Wingspan just because I want a bird game, because I don't know that I'm
Is it easier to sell to somebody else to play
maybe
it?
Yeah, I think it is.
So we talked a little bit about it there, but what is it that connects a theme to a game? What intrinsically inside the game makes the theme stick better? So we've talked a little bit about, if you've got asymmetric characters or powers that makes it feel right, if there's a story built into it, that can help connect the two. Is there anything else that connects a theme to a game?
I guess if it's like something that's transactional, like swap this thing for that thing, there needs to be a point of commerce. Like you can't just, there needs to be a point why you'd swap wood for coal, or I don't know, you need to be building something. There needs to be some semblance of logic to it, in my opinion. Like you couldn't just say, we live in a world now where you swap this for that. Like
grounding it to reality.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be reality.
Well, I think it makes sense. So there's some sort of, you can see why that happens, and so logic is probably the purpose.
Yeah. Is it a level of expectation as well?
In what way?
That stuff works how you expect it to work. Do you know what I mean? If I cast a fireball in a dungeon crawler, I expect something to catch on fire. Do you know what I mean? A equals B, right?
Yeah.
And I think it goes both ways, because when you expect a game to be one thing and it turns out to be another thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, I didn't expect that and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, oh, it wasn't what I was hoping for.
Like Heroes of Might and Magic with Curly, probably.
Exactly, yeah. Something along like it's just the theme is there, but it doesn't quite do what I expect it to do. And sometimes, like I say, sometimes that's an enjoyable experience, and other times it feels like a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, if you did a fireball and it did poison damage, and then you did, I'm going to call it Melf's Massive Marrow, but it's Melf's Acid Arrow, and that did fire damage, you'd be like, what's going on? It's clearly called an acid, it should do poison damage.
Yeah.
This is clear. So
even symbols can sometimes put me off within the theme of that.
Don't.
When someone tries to use a symbol that's everywhere else is used for one thing, like fire, let's say Gloomhaven with fire with a wound, I think it was fire they were used for a wound before. And you think...
Fire
what?
for a wound?
It had
What?
like a fire icon, and then I think that was a wound or something or other, and they called
Not
it
a blood
wound.
drop or...
No, not a blood drop. Blood drop was something else. I
Bleeding.
think. Bleeding, yeah. But and then the fire one was what they called wound. I think I might be wrong, but I do remember there was a game where I just looked at it and think, why isn't that just something else that you're used to, and that kind of throws you out of the theme a little bit in that sense as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just simple, as you say, just text on cards can do it as well. If something's called something weird and out there on a card, even that can kind of, well, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So sometimes, though, you get a game that has the correct theming that you really enjoy, and it bolts on something else that you really enjoy, like Nemesis.
Yeah.
I know we've spoken about Nemesis, but it's a good sci-fi game. It's a good storytelling game, but it's also a really good backstabby game.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? Its theme is on point, and it blends together a lot of elements that necessarily you don't get in those sort of games. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of enhances the experience by having a theme that maybe you didn't expect. Like originally, you didn't expect how good that theme would be.
Yeah, yeah, and it's strangely you're making me think of Comet. So Comet's like a area control dudes on a map kind of game, building pyramids, all that kind of stuff. But there's gods, Egyptian gods. Pretty sure they're Egyptian gods. And then randomly they were like, "Here's a Kickstarter expansion for Cthulhu," and in the background, like it was so conflicting. So many people were like, "This is a great idea," and then like the other half were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing putting Cthulhu in my Egyptian gods?" sort of thing. And it was really separating. But apparently the expansion isn't up to much either. So it's one of those where it's just like, I don't think the theme on that mattered. It's just interesting that it was like, here's an addition to a theme that's not part of the original theme, or like not necessarily IP or such, but you don't expect Cthulhu turning up in your Egyptian themed game. So when the expansion came out for it, it was a bit like, this is odd as a choice. Cool. Is there anything else we think
I'm just thinking of
makes them stick together?
Games like Gugong.
Yep.
So the artwork's very beautiful. It's really nice, and you spend a lot of time doing lots of other things. But if you don't get your little character to see the Emperor, it doesn't matter how many points you've got, you're not going to win. And from the start, that kind of annoyed me, but it makes total sense. If you can't get yourself in front of the person that rules the world according to you, doesn't matter how many points you've got, you're not going to get, you've not got favour. That's it. End of the story.
It's true, but it's weird because I think that's the only part of the game that has a theme. The rest is very much change this cube into that, go along this track and get some bonuses, go along that track, get some... Like, the rest of it didn't feel very thematic. Like, the general look and that, I enjoyed, and kind of what I was doing mechanically, but only that central bit of walking up to the Emperor.
Oh, I don't know. I felt really differently about it. So the bit that didn't make much sense to me for a little while was like the courtesan track.
Yeah.
So the kind of whispering secrets, getting kind of, I don't know, not necessarily favour, I suppose is what they're calling it. But then you can cash that in for something else. And that made total sense to me. It's like, how many people have you sort of whispered in the ear of or gotten the ear of?
Yeah.
And can influence lots of other stuff. Because actually, other than that, is pointless. But actually, that can break ties, which is exactly like, I don't know, like the real world in ancient China. Because I obviously know, whatever. But that is how the world works, isn't it? You swap that present for a better one or a crapper one. Gives you kind of clout with someone. And actually, the little courtesan that's whispering their ear because they said your name nicely, you're in favour now. And that makes total sense to me.
Yeah, as I say, different, because like the dice thing is not thematic in any way. I didn't feel like you're talking about the presence upgrading. It's just numbers. Just this number's higher than this number.
Yeah, I don't know, but the dice at the top when you're trying to get number 6s or whatever, which happens to be, I don't know, whatever it is in the instrument, whatever. I don't know, that kind of makes sense to me. Like, that's what's in favour at the minute. It makes no sense, but everybody likes, but like memes that go around, like they don't make any sense to anything connected, but at the minute, that's really in.
Fair enough.
Be like a cool kid. In is not the word that the cool kids use, but that's, I was about to say on fleek, but that's even worse than in, isn't it? Whatever it is that's the thing of the moment.
Whatever they're vibing.
On trend, yeah.
Zeitgeist. There we go. We'll stick with that.
Zeitgeist.
It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't make any difference, and it won't be the same tomorrow. But today, that's really cool. So I don't know. It all worked for me.
Yeah.
And hence, I was able to kind of Do I win when I play it? No, but I totally understand what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So from that, I feel like maybe you don't need all of those bits anyway. So that doesn't have a story. That's just going to be, you're doing this. So it's going to be like components, artwork. Those are going to glue the theme on. So it doesn't necessarily need all of these bits, but if it's got a strong backing of each, so if you've got real nice artwork that goes with it, sometimes that's enough.
Yep.
If you've got really good components, sometimes that's enough to put glue the theme onto it. So it is interesting because I've never thought about it before. Because Gugong, weirdly for me, Becky, I'm in agreement there in the fact that it does kind of feel thematic in what it's trying to do, not necessarily what we're doing. But
the mechanics of swapping this for that is nothing to do with China, really. But it works in my brain.
The story, like the storyline in air commas, or the theme behind it works for it, saying this is the reason why you're doing this. This is this.
But White Castle,
the actual mechanics don't. But
but White Castle, same vague theme, same. Artwork's very pretty.
Yeah, I had the same feelings about both thematically. I feel like they're both doing exactly the same thing, which is that I am swapping things for other things to get things.
I see, but in White Castle,
though, isn't it? But it is. But the White Castle, Gugong, I've put Lacrimosa on my list. A lot of those kind of Euro games, for me, do not feel thematic for the most part. There might be one little bit that calls out as thematic, but the rest of the game doesn't, sort of thing.
It's so hard to tack it onto a Euro.
It is.
You, as the player, I feel like you have to do more of the work for the theme than sometimes the board game. So, like, while you're teaching people the game, you go, you're doing this because of this, and then you're doing this because of this, and then that helps tack the theme on. And sometimes it will say that in the rules, and then it's up to the person teaching the game to sometimes push that. And that's another weird occurrence, I guess, within the theme itself. Sometimes it's up to the person teaching the game.
I think there is a little bit on that. And I think for Euros, quite often you're looking at, are you doing like a construction line? Because that's quite a common theme. Are you doing trading? Are you doing tile placement, which means you're doing building? Whatever kind of part of that you're doing, the theme has to tie at least roughly to that. And then depending upon how the other bits stick to that theme that you've decided on, then decides whether or not it feels pasted on or not. Like, you have to have a rough, there's no point having a construction line and then it being about, I don't know, trading or something, like, the theme being about trading, because it's not going to work for you. This idea of kind of, unless you're trading up or something like that, it's generally not going to work. So you need that overall theme that's like, oh, this is an area of control. So it can be about war or territory or whatever. After that, then it's all the side bits that then pull in, decide whether or not it feels pasted on or not.
Which is, I think, what I kind of meant with grounded with reality in some sense, because as you're saying, if you detach that from what everyone knows, it doesn't feel right. No. So sometimes you kind of do need that grounding. Or the tether.
But other times you can use it to explain a game very easily. What is Capitos?
Mm-hmm.
It's a race. And the map is a track. I find instantly, I get it. I get what I'm doing.
I've got to go round here.
I've got to get around there first. Job done. That's easy. It's easy to understand. But also theming in a narrative game, if the theme is on point along with the narrative, I'm thinking Arkham Horror. Just fantastically. If you got a laser pistol turn up in that game, you'd be like, what the fuck? It would really almost not ruin the game, but it'd be like, well, I'm not putting that in again. See what I mean? So for a story driven game, the narrative, like Mansions. It just fits and it enhances the game. It just makes it a little bit better.
I do think that sort of traditional dungeon crawlers or story games, narrative games, I think they're the easiest to stick the theme to the mechanisms, because you can just tell, even if the mechanisms don't quite line up, you can just tell the story or make the characters out a little bit more, whereas the closer you get towards the Euro end, the harder it is to stick.
100%, because effectively it's just like worker placement game, how can the theme kind of, like you said, it has to relate to what you're doing, and effectively you're putting somebody on a board.
Do you
know what I mean? Ironically though, it works with Scythe. Works with Scythe very well.
I think it works a lot of things. Anything where you're saying, well, this person's going to this part of town or whatever, it'll work to some extent. It's just, as I say, it's then all those side bits that decide whether or not the theme ultimately sticks. Let's look at the flip side of it now. So if we talk about when it doesn't work, we've already named Lords of Waterdeep, which I think is quite a well-known one where everyone sort of says the theme feels quite pasted on. And that's got lovely artwork. If you know D&D, you know all the settings, you know all of the classes, you know all the missions you're going on and what they're there. And yet it doesn't feel like D&D. It doesn't feel like any kind of adventuring thing at all.
But that's why I like it. Because I don't think I'd be interested in any of that other stuff.
But it's not the theme doesn't fit, right?
No,
the theme doesn't fit at all.
Anything. It could be anything, and I'd like it just exactly the same.
Exactly. But what is it that makes it not fit?
I think because it's just, you are putting one person getting a colour. Maybe you should be artists collecting paint. That would fit, because all you actually are needing to do is collect colours.
Yeah.
So if you were, I'm into cubism and the colours I'm collecting is blue, then that theme would be better immediately. And maybe
you should play Fresco.
Okay.
Which is about painting one of the big ceilings.
Okay. But like when we were just mentioning that, I was thinking about themes that maybe might actually put you off and make you not want to play. So like controversial games like Mombasa that then gets rethemed to Sky Mines. I haven't played either of those games, but knowing what the theme is, I wouldn't want to play the first one.
The Sky Mines theme doesn't fit either, so it's fine.
No, but if you find something,
it's just a Euro game.
If you find something aversive, because you don't care for the thought behind it or whatever, then even if the game's amazing, you're not going to play it.
I did that with a game that we're actually planning on. I know this comes out after Christmas, but we're planning on playing Christmas Day.
Yeah.
JP said, "Do you want to play a game about making wine?" And I was like, "No, I don't."
Because nobody should be playing viticulture. Just saying.
They should.
It's a good game.
But I said to him, "Oh, should we play it this year?" And he's like, "Oh, let's chuck in the cheese expansion." Do you know what I mean? Like as a theme,
now. Yeah.
as a theme, and this is back when we very first started playing board games. So this is not long after I played Netrunner, and he was like, "Oh, cool, I've got this game about making wine." Could not care less. But it almost put me off playing the game.
But it sticks. The game and theme for viticulture stick really well.
I get it, but as a selling point, that's how he sold it to me. He was like, "Do you want to play a game about making wine?" No, I'd rather drink wine. I don't even like wine, but I'd rather drink it than play a board game about it. But now, actually, we're playing at Christmas, and I'm quite excited to play it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, on my list of games that I think that they stick the landing for the theme versus it is viticulture is very high up there, I think, for where it matches.
Yeah.
But so what is it that causes the disconnect when you're talking about between theme and mechanisms?
Disconnect for me, unconscious minds. So it's basically it's a theme about Freud, and it's about analyzing dreams, and there's a word for it within the psychoanalysis world, but I can't remember it at the moment. And it's
dreamology.
I don't know. I think it's dreamology, but we'll call it that for the time being.
Isn't that a mattress?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sophology, isn't it? Sofa.
But yeah, it's curing patients through their sleep, and the theme's really cool, and the artwork's really cool. And all the components are really good. And you look at it and you think, wow, this is going to be great. I'm going to get into this theme. And then you start playing it and it's just resource conversion. And you're just moving that resource conversion, do resource conversion, moving that around, resource conversion. And you're just like,
it's got nothing to do with healing people.
It's got really cool little cards that are kind of like see-through that sit on top of the patients that give stat modifiers as well, and what kind of what symbols you have to match with what resources, so you have to match those symbols. So it's just there could have been something else that drove home the whole really interesting concept that you've got here, and I just feel like that didn't stick the landing, and that really disconnected me from the game because of it. And I haven't played it since, and that's really bad. I do want to play it again. I was just disappointed. It's it left me kind of like a bit deflated, I think, because the theme really gripped me and it's really interesting. And then it just didn't live up to expectations.
Maybe we can only be really disappointed if we've gotten ourselves excited about the theme, because everything we've just mentioned when we didn't like a game is because it didn't live up to our expectation of the theme.
Definitely not for me. Okay. Like if a theme doesn't fit a game, in any way. I can still enjoy the game, but I can just go, It's a Wonderful World is one of my favourite games. And it's just putting cubes on stuff to create an engine that works. Mm-hmm. But it's got sci-fi, it's got Space Invaders and tanks, like old school tanks in it, and then randomly it's got like telekinesis, and then it's just got and then there's a holiday district, and it's like none of this actually makes sense, right? It doesn't make any sense at all.
But it doesn't matter to you.
But it doesn't matter to me because the mechanisms behind it are so good that the theme doesn't. And interestingly, I think that It's Wonderful World isn't the lightest, but I find that it's a bit like surface area. The lighter the game, the less surface area there is for the theme to stick to almost, right? So the second you get to I'm thinking like Century or Bandido or Saboteur or anything like that, you can see there's a theme, but it doesn't matter. You see straight through it within seconds. You stop seeing the theme almost like Azul and all that. But I think Lords of Waterdeep has other stuff. Like if you looked at other games at the similar weight, I can see games there that would stick, like whether they've stuck the theme more.
Yeah, maybe.
For me, the thing that with Lords of Waterdeep is that it never feels like you're sending anyone on an adventure because they all disappear. If stuff came back,
maybe.
Then I could understand it feeling like you're sending people on. But all you're doing is collecting cubes and sending them on an adventure. You're
Loot
not
cards would have been nice as well, maybe.
Yeah, anything that makes it feel more like adventuring rather than just sending people off.
Well, I think that's why I like it, because I really didn't like the idea of that being. I didn't want to play that game. The picture's like, I don't want to play this. But then when I actually played it, it was nothing to do with the theme I thought it was. I like this. This is good.
You wouldn't have to do the dungeon part of it. You just have to send the cards off, and when they came back, you'd get some of them back, or you'd get loot with it. That's kind of
the plot quest cards or whatever. But yeah, I think that's why I like it more than it probably is worth, actually, because the theme was so unappealing to me. So it's like the opposite of disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh great, it's not as shit as I thought. It was like the game isn't what I thought it was at all. There's no fighting here. Brilliant. I really like this. So it's almost like the theme put me off, but then when it actually wasn't themed at all or didn't need to be, that's fine then. Oh, perfect.
But yeah, you're saying that it doesn't matter that necessarily that the theme doesn't stick to it.
No, because I didn't like the theme. So I'm happy that the theme didn't stick to it because I didn't like the idea of that.
So I've got kind of one that does and doesn't all at the same time.
Go for it.
Love Letter, brilliant, and I will quite happily admit to being a princess in that game. Yet, how many versions?
Princess, Rob.
How many? Thanks, mate. How many versions of Love Letter are there? And the others, whatever theme they put on it, just doesn't quite work.
Well, the Harry Potter one that I made does, because it's exactly the same as
the Marvel one that we played was.
But things change, don't they? Change it, don't they? They change the.
Because they have to, because it has a different theming.
Not when you do the Harry Potter one that Becky loved curling with.
Admittedly, it was very good, but that's like. The theme of that game doesn't matter.
No, not
What the hell have they changed with the Marvel one?
But when they change it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so what have they changed with the Marvel one?
It's a battle element. So one person plays as Thanos, and the other three play as...
Oh, right.
And there's like a battle part to it that... Yeah, the theming, ironically, is kind of, you play as characters and things like that. So it just doesn't work. It doesn't feel
sound the same game.
That's it, and it almost isn't because it's had a different theming. Do you know what I mean? But at the same point,
I couldn't tell you any character. I could tell you what all the characters do, well, not all of them, but I could tell you what the characters do in Love Letter, but I couldn't tell you any of their names.
But that theming seems
Baron.
It seems like it shouldn't matter. Yeah, there's a prince.
A guard.
Yeah, but that's it. But the theming shouldn't matter. Yet when they change it, it does matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
I don't know, because when I was thinking about what character from the Harry Potter universe I wanted to make each character from Love Letter, I was thinking about, the horrible spy is Wormtail, because he's a horrible little Turdus. So that's why.
But when they've re-released it, they've almost had to change it to sell it.
Yeah, but then that's just trying to cash in,
just a reskin is not going to sell enough copies. They will need to put new mechanisms in there to make it a new game.
But then the theming matters because it's nowhere near as good as the original.
That's mechanics-wise as well, though.
It is mechanics-wise as well, but it's a theme that they've kind of put on to sell it that actually has made the game a lot worse.
Money grabbing. That's the main reason, probably.
Yeah, so that's almost like when they're reskinning, retheming stuff to sell it that actually is worse than the original product.
But yeah. Anything else around theme, mechanics?
Settlers of Catan's probably the same as well. There's no like theme.
There's
there,
nothing
is
to
there?
it. Nothing.
No.
Again, I think it's
The
just
robber. What do you mean?
you just take stuff from you.
But why is there one communal robber everyone uses? Who is this guy?
Just a random
Yeah.
bloke who just. But also, you can send them. Just go nick something off of him, please. Right? Is it just a sellsword? But yeah, again, it's that. I think it's just that thing of until a certain weight, it's really hard to get the theme to stick because there's not enough of these little wrinkles in the game to, as you kind of say, like that. Where there's mechanics that are like, well, this doesn't fit with the theme, or it does fit with the theme. You don't have enough of that going on to really make and that point. And Century proved it, right? We've gone from spice trading to making golems with exactly the same mechanisms, and it's because there's no difference in the game. It's just a colouring.
Swapping colours for things, getting
It's not. There's nothing there to really pull the theme in. But I still enjoy the game. I still enjoy playing Century. But there's no reason why they
cut your losses at that point, isn't it? There's no point in trying to tack more of a theme on.
Yeah, there's just there's
it's
nothing.
not going to work.
And the Spice Road one does kind of work until they introduced New World, and then I thought that didn't work at all, the third expansion. But yeah.
But you're not going to have like a big lore section and story behind it, are you?
Century doesn't, but I think there are some games that have tried to in the past that are just like, here's your 4 pages of dialogue for your 30-second card game sort of thing, But yeah, happy days. So so I think it's fair to say that theme is important. It helps drive forward a game. It helps your immersion. It helps you teach it, but it's not necessity to have it there in order to make an enjoyable game. I think is kind of what is that a correct summation?
If you're prepared to put the time in, I think so.
So for our next section, normally you'd be used to Would You Rather, but for now we're going to try just something a little different. So we have come up with a section that we are calling Receive, Sleeve or Leave. So we have board gamified a section or a game that a lot of people probably know with this. So without naming it. So there are 3 options. I'll give you 3 games. You have to put one in each category. It's either a game that you wouldn't buy for yourself, but if you received it, you'd enjoy a couple of games of it and be happy that you got it as a gift. You have Sleeve, which means it's a game you would absolutely love and has to go on the shelf. And Davey can stop laughing at the word sleeve. And because you're going to want to play it so much, then you're going to potentially sleeve it. Or Leave, which is just leave it on the shelf. So we talk...
Fornicate, marry and avoid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. So that's the game we're playing right now.
Theme matters.
Theme matters. However you call it, it's still the same game. Going back to an earlier point and a little bit about theme and a theme I've been enjoying playing, which is horror. I'm going to give you 3 horror games and you have to decide which one would you like to receive, which one are you sleeving, and which one are you leaving on the shelf. So the 3 games are Nemesis, Fury of Dracula, and Mansions of Madness.
Ooh.
Davey, lean back.
I'm stretching, I think.
I can go.
Go on then.
I would sleeve Mansions.
Yep. I don't think that needs much explanation.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much a given. I'm sure Becky's probably the same, maybe. I'd receive Dracula.
Nice.
I would leave Nemesis. Not because I didn't enjoy it, not because it's a bad game. I get bored playing Nemesis.
Do you?
I will quite often get in the capsule halfway so I can go and make a cup of tea. Genuinely, I've played it 3 or 4 times, and each time I've gotten the capsule as soon as I can and gone and made a cup of tea. And then I've enjoyed watching it play out at a distance.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's because
the chair in the corner.
Because it is so tense and because it is so knobby. I think I played it once where I didn't get in the capsule and Tambo literally left me and I got eaten.
Nice.
And then something happened where his capsule didn't launch, so he died as well. So it was funny. But the stress of it, it was too much for me. So yeah, I'd leave Nemesis.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's everyone else doing?
I'm going to leave Fury of Dracula.
Okay.
I get a bit bored. Like with you with Nemesis, I just...
I've never played Fury of Dracula.
I've never played as Dracula.
Have you not?
So maybe that might change it up a bit. And maybe because I've only played with new people a few times, it's just the time it takes.
It does take a while.
And I was just like, I've got to go to
Dracula.
work tomorrow. I've got to just... I'm checking out. I'm sorry, I've got to. It's 11:30 now, and I'm getting up in a few hours. I've got to go. So that's the one I'm going to leave. But sleeve and receive. I don't know. This is hard because I love Mansions, because it's a game that has got really fond memories for me, and it's a game that one of my friends likes to play who doesn't like to play many other games because of the co-op element about it. But Nemesis is such fun. Now, yes, it can be tense, like Rob said. It can be like nail biting. Oh my God. But it's such a brilliantly themed, like we were saying before, the mechanics really fit that game.
Nice.
And Mansions, they do, but I don't know, because you've got the scenarios. Can you ever really play it again and have a completely different experience? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is, what do they call it? Reduced return, whatever the term is.
Yeah.
The more you play it, the less you'll get out of it. I think there is that built into Mansions.
But maybe that's
Madness,
the same with Nemesis, to be honest. So I'm gonna sleeve Mansions because I spent such a lot of time making the insert for that game. So I will receive Nemesis.
I think I'm the same as Becky. Sleeve Mansions. Mansions is always a game. Whenever I've played it, I've always really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So other than the first edition. Where we all sat around and tried to play that, and it was like one of the first modern board games we got into, so it's a long time ago now. But I remember just sitting around trying to learn the rules and play that, and Jesus, when it was like 8 hours later, I was just like, I've had enough. I've had enough. I never want to see this game again. Second edition is just 10 times better. And then, leave Dracula. I just think Beast does it better. I prefer to play Beast. I'll receive
Nemesis.
Probably won't play it much, but I'll receive Nemesis.
Yeah. Or you say you
And
kind
a
of
bit done with
outplayed it now.
Yeah. But I'm just, I'm fully done with Dracula. So I just think there's certain aspects of Dracula which are a bit outdated now.
Yeah, I agree.
The combat, and sometimes if Dracula's nowhere near you as a player, you're just like, I'm not really doing anything.
Don't have to worry.
That's it. That's how I felt in my last game. I think, was it with JP? I can't really remember, but he was just so far away from everyone else. It was like, what am I even doing? Just nothing. I don't even need to be here.
Yeah.
Lost in a
Yeah.
area, in a pub in Ireland somewhere.
That sounds like a great game.
I would really like to play Whitechapel. I think I'd really like that.
I prefer Whitehall.
What is that? What I mean, maybe.
So there's two. There's Whitechapel, which is one where you basically go out and come back to the same spot, and then there's Whitehall where you go round the map.
Oh, I don't know which one I mean then.
The
You described it, and I liked the thought.
Whitehall's
at
the
the time.
smaller one, which I prefer. Whitechapel's a bit of a bigger game, and I think it's just added. I think it was the original one, but it's got a bit more in it. And
Whichever was the one that you were saying you really liked.
Yeah,
I liked the sound of that one.
We'll play Whitehall at some point.
What about yourself, mate?
I am pretty much the complete opposite. I have no time for Mr. Wibbles, as I pointed out lots of times, and I think Mansions of Madness is okay as a game. I think mechanically it's a bit dull, and I think that the insanity thing just doesn't work, personally. So Mansions gets left
You're too sane for that game. That's what it is.
in the
Adrian.
bin. So I'll leave Mansions.
That's harsh.
Gets
You need
left
a bloody big bin for Mansions.
in
let me
the
tell you.
store. I
He
don't
takes
know.
it too far, doesn't he?
He does.
Always
Always
do.
takes it too far.
So unfortunately, I've tried Mansions a few times because I've got other friends who, when I was first getting into board games, thought it was the best game ever, and I just could not get into it. So
Have you played Arkham Horror?
the card game, no, I've played Eldritch Horror, the board game version.
I haven't played
sort of thing. I think it's there's one that's kind of more of a board gamey version.
That's
of it.
Eldritch Horror, yeah.
I'm sure that's Eldritch Horror. So I remember playing that just about. So Mansions does nothing for me, so that's getting left. Fury of Dracula, there are better versions of that hidden movement, but I do quite enjoy it. It's just a bit, as you say, it's a bit dated and it's a bit bloated, but I love the mechanics of hidden movement, stuff like that. So that's the one that I am receiving. And then what I'm sleeving is Nemesis, even though I don't own a copy, because every game I've ever had of that, even the boring ones that end a bit too quick, I've just enjoyed watching what people do.
Yeah, it's great for the storytelling.
So from a storytelling point of view, so I would sleeve Nemesis as well. There we go. I think we had 3 different opinions out of 4 people there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, happy days. So let us know what you think about that section.
Let us know what you choose.
And what you would choose, yeah. And whether we continue with it or whether we try something different or whatever. So always up for trying something different and seeing whether it works.
Exactly.
So that's it. So the next part is the penultimate turn. What do we have coming up? What's on our horizons board game wise?
I've got a lot of time off coming up.
Yep.
So I'm going to be playing a hell of a lot of games. So,
Nice.
This weekend we are playing Cloud Spy for the first time. So I want to see what it's like. We're going to do the co-op. So
Okay, nice.
Should be good fun.
Awesome game.
Then I'm playing The Witcher the day after, but co-op. We're trying the co-op and see how that plays. So it's fighting the Wild Hunt.
Nice.
Then at some point in the next couple of weeks, we have a Too Many Bones day.
Did you see the new trailer for Witcher? You play as Ciri.
Yeah.
It's good.
It looks awesome.
It's good.
It's the natural progression. Apparently, some people are kicking off that you play a girl. Shut up. Play the third one.
I don't know if anyone is, or whether it's just someone always goes, oh, someone's kicking off about this, and you go, yeah, but where is this actually happening?
Who is that person that's kicking off about it?
Yeah. You want someone to kick off about it, therefore you may not.
I've spent a game, 5 books, and 3 TV series of trying to protect that girl.
Yeah.
So moving on, we've got Too Many Bones day.
Wow.
So we're going to play it. I'm literally coming round at breakfast. And then probably leaving about
Going home at midnight.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds so good. I know. So we're doing that. Viticulture, D&D with my daughter. I got a lot of
I'm
games
looking forward to hearing about that. I think she's going to love
It's going to be fun. She's got a backstory sorted out. She's got the reason she's left the Enclave, because she's playing as a druid, and literally she's been in a panto.
Yeah.
So when we're killing time in the car, when we've got 15 minutes to kill, she's been planning it all. So
that's really sweet.
I love planning characters.
It's been really sweet to see her kind of figure it out, and I'm really looking forward to playing. So.
It's such a satisfying part of that hobby, and if she's really engaging with that, then that's a good sign.
Yeah. So, really looking forward to this period coming up, because I've got a lot of time off, which is going to be nice. I mean, I've only had a job for 3 weeks.
Nice.
So the fact that I've got some time off is really nice. But no, very much looking forward to it.
So I have a fair bit of time coming up, hopefully in the near future. And there's 2 games I've got on the horizon that I'm really looking forward to that I haven't played. So one of them is Menifer. When we finished GridCon, I said to Paul, can I hold on to the copy of Menifer? Because I really want to play it. And then unfortunately, I've had to cancel the few game days with the people I wanted to play it with. So that's still not being played yet, but it just looks, I was watching some playthroughs and stuff, and I really think this is going to be a game for me. So I need to get it to the table. It's getting a bit like an obsession, an itch that I need to scratch to kind of, for Menifer.
Too bitty.
It has tracks and areas to go to, but I think it's my kind of that game. I think it's that thing of you can plan, and you can also make some last minute decisions. People affect you, the cost of things go up as people go to work, placement spaces and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's plenty of stuff in there.
Be nice to finish a game.
Yeah, as I say, I want to play it, and if I love it, I'll probably buy it, and then we could put a day up for it. And then the other one that I bought from the 24-hour marathon is Decrypto. I've never played it before.
Oh, it's
I love
great.
Decrypto.
It's great.
It's one of those where everyone talks positively about it, and we're trying to work out how to fit so many people in for a game one night. So Just One was on the list, of course, but Decrypto is the other one on the list that people want to try. So really looking forward to that. Again, I don't think it's new to most people, but it will be new to me. So I'm quite excited to give that a go.
Nice.
There we go.
Nice. I've actually just put an event up of Orleans, which has been sat on the shelf forever.
Pronounce that again for me.
Well, there's Orleans or Orléans.
Orléans.
So whatever.
I don't know the correct
insert
one,
your
but...
pronunciation. Well, it depends if you're French or not, I suppose. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually trying that. That should be cool. I started to watch a how to play video, but I was ill at the time and it just made me go to sleep, which is actually really, really nice at the time. But I thought this looks good. I fall asleep. So I'm actually looking forward to playing that. And of course, going on holiday that I'm doing all this planning for.
Ooh.
So it should be good. I've got nice stuff.
To start talking like Gambit. Ooh, I'm going to make a name for myself here.
That was an awful impression.
Who's
Are you doing Gambit from Marvel?
Yeah.
I thought you were a Hobbit.
That was awful.
I
Yeah,
don't,
it's going to be bad.
I
It's
don't know who
fine.
Gambit is.
Oh,
He's an X-Man.
he's an
Oh,
He's in
yeah.
Marvel.
Which everyone always used to think that he was like
French-Canadian.
Yeah, French-Canadian, but he's actually Cajun.
Okay.
From the Bayou.
From the Bayou.
Louisiana.
But they really,
His X-Men I've
And
always
they've got
turned
a really
off.
weird accent.
but they
He actually sounded spot on in the film because it was Channing Tatum playing the character.
who's from that area?
He's from that area.
So
So
he
he
kind
did
of
the
knew.
accent really well. But everyone was like, what? What is this accent? And then you actually see some Cajun people and some people from the Bayou, and you're like, oh, they
It's not
actually
far
do-
off,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do sound like that.
Anyway, Davey, what have you got coming up?
I'm going to be playing Slay the Spire. 'Cause
Nice.
I've basically, Taz got it for me for my birthday. Thank you, Taz.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, going to be playing that finally. We were meant to play it over my birthday, but I got stormed in pretty much all weekend. So yeah, wasn't able to do anything. So going to be doing that. Probably going to be playing some Primal, as always. And then,
Oh, Rob's sad because he's not playing Primal.
well, Too Many Bones. Where's my invite for Too Many Bones?
I was just thinking that.
Oh, we started a war.
Yeah,
Primal
where's
versus
that?
Too Many
He wanted to
Bones.
do a 3-player.
Sorry?
It's been a JP and he wanted to do a 3-player.
Well, I've said to JP for ages I wanted to play Too Many Bones. What about that? Anyway.
You
right.
can't. I've been saying to you for ages, just get a Primal win.
Yes, it's the same
Where you
thing.
at, son?
You're too busy.
Welcome to our board game group and look inside our... And that's it. That's the end of our episode. So thank you very much for listening. If you know anyone who'd like the podcast, please mention us to them. We're always looking for more listeners. If you want to get in touch with us, we have email, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Get in touch with us however works for you. We also have our Ko-fi, K-O-F-I. So if you have a few pennies that you want to donate to us to help us keep this running and to improve our quality, sound quality and bits and pieces, you can do. Again, all of the information for that is in the show notes. We appreciate all of those who support us already. Thank you very much to those who are already supporting us on Ko-fi. It's much appreciated. And yeah, the next question I suppose is, whose turn is it anyway?